Welcome to the show, everybody, where we're going to talk about, let's see here, your 5-0 Philadelphia Eagles, not too bad, and your Philadelphia Phillies getting ready to take a 2-game series lead over the Braves, and the Dallas Cowboys sucking. That's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome into the show. I know with that information right there, you had a wonderful weekend, so welcome into the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie. Check out mybookie.ag. We got so much to get into with the Eagles. We got a lot to get into with the Phillies, so we're going to jump right in and have ourselves a good time. Before we get into the top 5 things that really jumped out at me about this game, I want to get this one thing out of the way. We're going to talk about Jalen Hurts. We're going to talk about Jalen Carter. We're going to talk about Sean Desai and how incredible he was. But I think Sean Desai was the star of the show yesterday in terms of that chess match that we had talked so much about between him and Sean McVay. This was a great test, and we'll get into it. But just in the overall grand scheme of things, yesterday was a beautiful display. And this is why I want to lead with it, because we won't talk about it enough as the year goes on, because quite frankly, a lot of people find this to be very boring. But I find this to be absolutely incredible. Yesterday was a beautiful display of coaching. Players executed, players made plays, and we'll talk about that 99.99999% of the time when we talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and really sports in general. But yesterday I thought was such a great example of coaching, from the relationship between Jason Kelce, Jeff Stoutland, Jason Kelce, and Nick Sirianni, to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, to Nick Sirianni and Quez Watkins, as well as Sean Desai and his defense. Beautiful, amazing, picture-perfect, clinic-worthy display of coaching. And one of the huge things you can talk about with Sean Desai is second-half adjustments. What were we talking about all the live-long day when it came to Jonathan Gannon? Oh, if you're going to get rid of him, I want a guy that's going to be a little bit more aggressive, and I want a guy that's going to be able to make second-half adjustments. Well, they made second-half adjustments, whether it be Darius Slay's suggestion or not. We'll get into that. But here's what I'm talking about. It came up on postgame yesterday. With Seth Joyner and Derek Gunn and Mike Misnelli and yours truly. And this came up. The question of coaching hard, all right? I thought in particular yesterday was why Nick Sirianni is such a good head coach. And it's not just the fact that now they're 22-1, with Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback for him, but it has to do a lot with Nick Sirianni's coaching style. One, we all know the CEO type of coach. I don't want to call plays. That's going to be somebody else. I want to be able to oversee everything. And for the most part, that's exactly what Nick Sirianni has done. But you see him on the sidelines after a rough play, after that interception by Jalen Hurts. And what is he doing? He's coaching Jalen Hurts hard. And the question came up as to whether or not that's okay. Let me answer that question emphatically. That is okay. With Jalen Hurts, that is okay. With Nick Sirianni and his relationship with Jalen Hurts, that is okay. You have a coach that no matter what loves his players, will do anything for his players, always covers his players, always has his players' backs. When he was asked about the negative side of it with Quez Watkins yesterday, didn't give any information. Just acknowledged that there was a situation, but didn't give any details. That's what a good head coach does. I know we love accountability, and we should love accountability. We all love accountability. But as a head coach, you don't always want to you don't want to air the dirty laundry, so to speak. But he's on the sidelines and he's chewing out Jalen Hurts for whatever went down on that interception. And doesn't give any information about it after the game. I think everyone knows what was up. It looked like Jalen Hurts had checked to that play, and then threw a bad pass to A.J. Brown. And it looked like a back shoulder throw that A.J. Brown was just unaware was going to be a back shoulder throw. So it is what it is. But he has that ability to get in a player's ear and I think still have their respect. And I think that's exactly what's going on right now. That is exactly what's going on right now between him and Jalen Hurts. And that was a great example of Nick Sirianni as a very good head coach and what makes him a great head coach. Then when it comes to the situation with Quez Watkins, this is even better. Because I don't know if Quez Watkins is the same type of mentality as Jalen Hurts. I know Quez Watkins is a very confident player. I know he's talked about himself as the fastest man in the league and all that stuff, right? And he would make people eat their words for doubting him in the offseason. But this is why Nick Sirianni is so damn good. Yesterday, you saw him chewing out Quez Watkins for a stupid read of blocks that Quez Watkins had. You had the bubble screen to the outside to Quez Watkins, where you had two of your receivers holding their blocks, and all Quez Watkins had to do to get the first down was run forward. Instead, he went to get cute, and he tries to bounce it to the outside, where he ends up taking a loss. The camera then got Nick Sirianni enraged. Not like a tough coaching enraged, but kind of like, hey, what the hell was that kind of coaching? Kind of really chewing out his player for making a dumb play. Not hard coaching, chewing out a player. The reason this is so important is because if you go back to the preseason, if you go back to the end of OTAs, really, even before the preseason, when Nick Sirianni was asked about one player that has really jumped out to him, he went out of his way to mention Quez Watkins. So for the people that want to say, you can't chew out anybody in the NFL, and that was more or less my dear friend Derek Gunn's point of view, to which Seth Joyner, as you would expect, had an opposite point of view. And I 100% agree with Seth. You really got to know your audience in any regard. And I think Nick Sirianni, when it comes to who he's going to be yelling at and when to fire those bullets and who to fire those bullets at, I think he's got a great read and feel for that type of situation. So he talked about Quez Watkins months ago in OTAs. Hey, who's the guy that's really jumping? Oh, Quez Watkins. He's rooting for Quez Watkins. The Eagles are rooting for Quez Watkins. They want him to be better. They know he can play better, and they just want to see him play better. So he's played the kid glove, soft touch, nurturing head coach for Quez Watkins. He's done that. And then Quez Watkins gets handed his position back, essentially, when he finally is ready to play this season, even though Olamide Zaccheaus has been playing great as your third wide receiver in this offense. Quez Watkins gets the opportunity right back. Nick Sirianni gave him credit for making a good play in the opening drive of the season. Fine, whatever. But the play that we're referencing here where he didn't read his blocks, Nick Sirianni, a former wide receivers coach, as we all know, sees his wide receivers making a play to make those blocks and hold those blocks. And then Nick Sirianni sees his wide receiver make a horrific read on those blocks and decide, I'm going to bounce this outside where he takes a tackle for a loss. Yeah, that's going to piss off Nick Sirianni. And Nick Sirianni chewing out his wide receiver after praising him in the offseason, giving him that kind of support, giving him an opportunity right away when he's healthy again and healthy enough to play. And then the player goes out there and makes that kind of horrible play, that kind of horrible read, that kind of horrible decision. I thought that was exactly why Nick Sirianni is a great head coach. Read a situation with his quarterback, addressed it. Read a situation with his wide receiver, gave him support, gave him love, gave him admiration, lavished him with praise. And then when the season started and the player finally had an opportunity to show how good he could be and blew it, coach was right there to be the other side of that. The soft hand or the firm fist. And that's what Nick Sirianni went with yesterday. I thought that was a great coaching display. We'll get into more stuff with Sean Desai. But overall, just the head coach of this football team that has this team in a position right now at 5-0, which, by the way, you've had 3 teams since 1980 start out 5-0 after a Super Bowl loss. You should know one of them. One of them is the Philadelphia Eagles in 1981. The other is the Buffalo Bills in 1991. And now you have the 5-0 Eagles. Now, unfortunately, those two teams that I mentioned earlier, those two 81 Eagles and 91 Bills, they didn't win the Super Bowl either, but they at least had a good start to their following season. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this game. I had to give some praise there to our boy, Nick Sirianni. Let's get into this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Here's my top 5 things that I got that really jumped out of this game for me. Let's start it off right here. When we talk about this defense, it really goes no further, and this is in no particular order. It goes no further than Jalen Carter. We're going to talk about Jalen Hurts on the offensive side of things, but I got to start talking about this rookie. It's the first thing I want to talk about with you today. No Fletcher Cox yesterday. Now, I know people, they look at the stat sheet and they might say, not that much anyway, not that big. It doesn't have the sack numbers it used to have, whatever it might be. He is incredible. Fletcher Cox is having an incredible season. And then for him to not be able to play yesterday due to this epidural back soreness that he's dealing with here, speedy recovery. A guy who's played 12 years in the league having a back issue of any kind is not exactly music to anyone's ears. So hopefully a speedy recovery. But yesterday, without him, you have Milton Williams up. You're asking more of Jordan Davis. You're asking more of Jalen Carter, obviously, right? Yesterday, Kentavious Street gets some reps yesterday. It's a lot going on in yesterday's ballgame. But Jalen Carter, there was a red carpet of opportunity rolled out there for Jalen Carter yesterday, and he responded with not one but 2 sacks, not one but 2 tackles for loss, and pressures all throughout the day. That was a guy capitalizing on his opportunity. That was a guy marching down the red carpet of opportunity to make sure Matthew Stafford never really got it going. Now, in the first half, he got it going. Second half, the secondary was a little bit different. Your pressure was a lot better. You were able to get into the backfield. Hassan Reddick, of course, came to eat on those that last possession there by the Rams. But Jalen Carter is the guy that I want to talk about because he was phenomenal. Trying to double team him. He was fighting his way through double teams. He was certainly winning his one-on-one battles yesterday, even though without Fletcher Cox, he was drawing most of the double teams, and rightfully so. But he was just getting after it. That's the guy that there is no way, shape, or form, looking at this season so far, if you were to go back and draft that this guy to be available at 9, no way that happens. He has done everything right to this point. I was amazed, absolutely amazed at what you were hearing about him in the preseason. And sometimes people they say I don't care what a guy says. What are they going to say? Right? I always tell you, when you hear players like Fletcher Cox or Jason Kelce, they go beyond the normal compliment of, oh, yeah, very impressive. It's going to be very good in this league. When they go beyond the compliment of a rookie to go, yeah, just he's on another level. This guy, he's going to be a problem for a lot of teams when you consider his work ethic, when you consider his attention span, when you consider the mental aspect of this. When they go on and just start emoting and go beyond just yeah, he's good. I can see why we drafted him. And scene. And they stop reading the lines and they say something that's genuine. That's where you know someone's going to have a real impact. And Jalen Carter has absolutely had that real impact. That's at least where you know the guy's going to be the real deal. And Jalen Carter is absolutely the real deal. I can't get over the fact the Eagles have had this embarrassment of riches of defensive tackles. And we talked about it going into the season. And I said my best case scenario for Jalen Carter is obviously defensive rookie of the year. Right? The defensive rookie of the year. That's the best case scenario. But right under that, you know what? Just don't make me miss Javon Hargrave. Don't make me miss him. Javon Hargrave, a hell of a player. I'd love if he was still here. I'd love if Jalen Carter was here. I'd love if yesterday there was no Fletcher Cox and it was Javon Hargrave and it was Jalen Carter. That'd be great. But he hasn't made me miss Javon Hargrave. He hasn't made me miss him even a little bit. And he's having a good year out there in San Francisco. By the way, yes, we will get into the Cowboys just sucking, as I said earlier. So Jalen Carter is number 1 for me. Right after that, this is incredible. Dallas Goedert went into yesterday's game with 88 receiving yards on the season. And in the first 2 quarters of yesterday's game, he had 100 yards. Yeah, I would say they were planning on getting him involved. I would say I'm pretty sure they were looking to get him involved. He finished the day, 8 catches on 9 targets for 117 yards and a touchdown. First 4 games of the season, 88 yards. If I would have told you at the end of the preseason when we were making our predictions, oh, by the way, going into week 5, Dallas Goedert's not even going to have triple digits in receiving yards, you would have said I'm crazy. And we'll let you hear what Nick Sirianni had to say about the whole situation after the game, but you can't tell me you weren't looking to get him the football. Seriously? Seriously? You mean to tell me you weren't trying to get him the football? The first drive of the game, he had 4 catches for 45 yards and capped it off with that touchdown. We're trying to get him the ball. Come on. 4 catches, 45 yards, and that touchdown to go up 7-0 on that 6:23 drive. 12 play, 75-yard, 6-minute, 23-yard drive, or 23-second drive. You weren't trying to get him the football? Please. It's just the way it worked out. I understand that there's audibles, check downs, there's that read's not there for me, or I don't have that, I can't see it, the offensive line, the defense is in my way, whatever it might be. And things progress throughout a game. I understand that. But when a player's really good, maybe just get him the football. It's not exactly like, but it's similar to last year when we heard so much about the RPO game and how much it took away from the run and how much it took away from a running back running the football. And Nick Sirianni said, we got to, the thing is with the RPO is that's a lot of our run offense there. No, it's not. No, it's not. If you want to run the ball with a running back, you can hand it. It's called a handoff, and you hand them the football, and then off they go. It's pretty. Actually, the name is in the title. Running back. Just give them the ball, they run. It's pretty great. So I hated it. And Nick Sirianni finally came out last year, and Shane Steichen came out last year. And they were talking about how, this is a team that we got to get the running backs the ball. Yeah, we'll hand them the ball. That'd be great if you could just hand them the ball and they'd run with it instead of calling an RPO. Well, the option there was to run or pass, or we decided to pass, or we decided to keep, and Jalen Hurts ran. Yeah, how about you take away the option? So if you want to play for Dallas Goedert, call a play for Dallas Goedert. And if you're not getting the ball in the hands of Dallas Goedert, especially in the red zone, for instance, which Eagles have been wildly inefficient at this year, get him the ball in the red zone. So what ended up happening in the first quarter, on the first drive, in the first possession for the Philadelphia Eagles, after the Rams deferred, the Eagles took the ball, marched downfield, hit Dallas Goedert 4 times, including once in the red zone for a touchdown. Funny how that works. Nick Sirianni says that's all part of flow of the game. And he said something that always pisses me off. He said, I know you guys look at the box score after the game and you say, well, he wasn't involved. He wasn't involved. Why wasn't he involved? Yeah, well, look, the box score is the box score. I like to go beyond the box score. But you can't deny the idea that the box score is the bottom line. Bottom line is this is what happened. The reasons why I find to be far more interesting than just that bottom line, because, yes, games can dictate different things. But if a guy is not involved hardly at all in your passing offense, he's one hell of a weapon offensively. When you face those upper echelon teams, like the Dolphins, like the 49ers, and yes, as much as I hate to say it, even after last night's game, they might not be cream of the crop in the NFC or even in contention for that at this point. But a divisional game against an opponent that knows you really well, blah, 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 blah. When you face the Cowboys, you can't leave points on the field in the red zone, and you bet your ass you better show how versatile you could be throughout the season so they don't know who's going to beat them. Whether it's going to be A.J. Brown with another 100-yard receiving game, good God, man. Or it's going to be Dallas Goedert, or it's going to be DeAndre Swift, or it's going to be Devontae Smith. You got to be clicking on all cylinders and making sure everybody's ready for the football at any given moment. And Dallas got to show you that, hey, through 4 weeks, not very much involved in the passing game. Run game, making those blocks, absolutely. Yesterday, I think absolutely proved that he still got it. So Dallas Goedert, my hat's off to you. Number 3 on this list. I mean, A.J. Brown, just bottom line. Go to that stat sheet now. Now you can go to the box score. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up for myself here in my notes. A.J. Brown yesterday, 6 catches on 8 targets, 6 catches on 8 targets for 127 yards, had a 38-yard reception before halftime. It goes a lot to the quarterback, but we were coming down there at Ocean Casino in Atlantic City. Me, Bill Colarulo, and Kayla Santiago. We're manning our positions right there at the desk, right? We're getting our mics on and our headsets on and all that stuff. And we're all watching the game. The Rams go down the field. They score, and 32 seconds left on the Puka Nacua. I'm going to miss saying that name now. Puka Nacua touchdown just over James Bradbury. And we're watching that unfold. 32 seconds left. Eagles have all 3 timeouts. I turn to Bill, and I go, they're going to go for it here. They're going to go for point. They're going to at least try to get a field goal. 32 seconds left, all 3 timeouts, a quick strike offense. Oh, man, this is going to be fun. And sure enough, they face that 3rd and 1 situation. Jalen Hurts throws down the field to A.J. Brown, who makes a miraculous one-handed catch to reel that ball in, gets down the field 38 yards, tack on another 14 yards, because what's that guy's name? Kendrick? Was that his name? Darian Kendrick comes up with the what do you call it? What he got misconduct? Not misconduct. What did he get? He got the penalty. I want to make sure I get this right. It wasn't horse collar. What the hell did he get? Touchdown Nakua. Horse collar. It was the horse collar. Okay, 14-yard horse collar tackle. So they tack on another 14 yards to that. Goes down to the 28-yard, or forced to the 28-yard line. Hurts has the incompletion to A.J. Brown in the end zone. Another Darian Kendrick penalty. This one, pass interference, puts the ball right smack dab on the 1 yard line. And you know what's coming, and you just can't stop it. The brotherly shove, dead ass, gets into the end zone for the Eagles to take the 17-14 lead. 32 seconds. All 3 timeouts, 32 seconds. They go 75 yards in 32 seconds. So you know how many plays? 4. That drive was the shortest possession of either team in that game. You realize yesterday there was not one 3 and out? Neither team had a 3 and out. The shortest drive was 4 plays in 32 seconds, 75 yards. And A.J. Brown, that 38-yard reception, that man is always open. His Twitter handle, the signs around his locker at the NovaCare complex, that man has just gotten it done time and time again. Absolutely incredible what we're seeing from A.J. Brown. Next up, you got to give him his flowers, ladies and gentlemen. Hassan Reddick. I am amazed at Hassan Reddick. We talked about Jalen Carter getting after the quarterback with 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Hassan Reddick finally gets that cast off his hand. 3 sacks in his last 2 games. So do me a favor. Don't ever tell me again that it didn't matter or it didn't have an impact. He was playing with 1 hand. It's a very aggressive, very physical sport, very violent sport. If I am being called upon to be violent and be aggressive and be physical, then you bet your arse that I better have both my hands at full disposal. And you mean to tell me that it didn't matter? Gets the cast up, 3 sacks. Doesn't have his hand wrapped, no sacks. 3, including 2 to ice the game yesterday. So I want to give a hat tip right there to Hassan Reddick. And then finally, Sean Desai, we all know his resume at this point. Cooper Kupp comes out in the game yesterday in the first half. First half, 95 yards on 6 catches. Finishes the game 118 yards on 8 receptions. That's 2 catches for 23 yards in the second half after a 95-yard output on 6 catches in the first half. We can go ahead and give credit here because this is Darius Slay after the game. This is a tweet from Dave Zangaro. Darius Slay said it was his idea to try to cover Cooper Kupp out of the slot late in the first half. He said the defense just simplified in the second half and realized how the Rams were scheming their key guys open. The Eagles D pitched the second half shutout. Look, I remember in that snow globe game against the Lions in Philly in the Chip Kelly era, Kerry Williams came over to the sideline and talked to Chip Kelly and said, the defensive backs can't plant. We can't plant, so they can't plant. So go ahead and throw deep. And they ended up doing it. And you know what? I always give credit to a coach when they listen to the players because sometimes coach, this is what we're doing. This is what we plan to do. This is what we're doing. This is what I'm doing. And that's fine if you win. But if you ignore your players and you lose, then you look like a complete moron. So if Sean Desai heard it from Darius Slay and then made the adjustment, by all means, good on you. Because after the game, we were talking to John McMullen, who had asked the question of Slay and a couple other guys in the locker room. What was the difference? They talked about in the first half, Eli Ricks, Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Bradley Roby. Credit to him, by the way, for coming up and he was signed, Tuesday officially? And then all of a sudden he's out there playing. In this game, he's in the slot. He's blitzing. They threw everything they possibly could at Cooper Kupp. There was one play in particular late in the game. I want to say it was in the second or in the third quarter, late in the third quarter, where you saw a great switch between James Bradbury and Bradley Roby, where Bradbury was on Kupp on the outside, and then Kupp motioned to the slot. Bradbury then switches to Roby. Roby takes Kupp, drops back in coverage, and the pressure gets to Stafford. Stafford overthrows Kupp, but the coverage was also there. So they made it a difficult play with pressure and with having the heads up to have that kind of communication and switch. And you know who I thought of? I thought of my friend Jody McDonald. I'll be on with Jody McDonald in the 9 o'clock hour for Birds 365 today as John McMullen flies back from the West Coast. But Jody was telling me, it's not going to be ready. Roby not going to be ready. Communication is key. That play right there, I was like, oh, that's some good communication right there. That's some cool, crisp, delicious communication. With some barbecue sauce on it. Anyway, credit to him. But anyway, back to Sean Desai. We know his resume. His resume was going up against Wonder Kid, still Wonder Kid, Sean McVay. That was a thing of beauty. It was a little troublesome. A little worrisome there in the first half. We're all a little scared in the first half. But in that second half, man, it was a totally different animal. If you've watched the Rams throughout this season, then you know, if at least followed them, or maybe you did a little prep before this game, you know that they had their seasons, or excuse me, their games really didn't start until the fourth quarter. So in the back of my mind, with those red zone opportunities being blown by the Eagles, by the way, they're only 2 for 6 in the red zone, 33% efficiency there. That's not good. So yeah, I don't like that. So I was waiting for something to break here with the Rams, but the Eagles had the answers. Whether it was good coverage, whether it was great pressure, whether it was a sack, the Eagles just came up with the right answers. They had the right second half adjustments. I know the sack numbers, maybe with Hassan Reddick being healthy now, maybe that'll be a lot different. But 70 sacks is going to be a tough bar to get back to, right? Seeing the Eagles use the blitz the way they've been using the blitz, and then also getting pressure with their front four, winning battles, front five sometimes too, winning battles, is incredible. If you tell me this team is going to make second half adjustments like they made in this game in particular, and listening to the players like Darius Slay to make those second half adjustments, if that's the way it did go down, well, then we have everything we wanted. When we saw that Jonathan Gannon was no longer going to be the defensive coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. What did we want? We wanted blitzing, we wanted smart blitzing, and we wanted second half adjustments. Well, yeah, I'd say the Eagles have got that down pretty well. Sean Desai deserves his flowers after this game. The players played great, no question about that. But Desai versus McVay was great. Getting a guy like Bradley Roby up to speed with this defense right out of the gate. And I know he's a veteran. I know he's been around the block. He was a 31st overall pick, first round pick in 2014. All right, he's been in the league a minute. He's been with a couple of teams already. He's won a Super Bowl. He's got that communication down. For him to just jump in here with James Bradbury on that play I just highlighted in particular is a thing of beauty. I am very impressed by what I saw from the Philadelphia Eagles and what I saw from Sean Desai as a defensive coordinator yesterday. And by the way, I meant to check this before the show, but I can grab this for you right out of the gate. Wow. 45% of the snaps. Bradley Roby played 45% of the snaps. The defensive snaps yesterday. Not bad. Not bad for a guy that was just signed that week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 5 days before the game. All right. Catch up. Here's the playbook. Oh, Jomo got 4 snaps. That a boy? Nolan Smith, only 8 snaps. Wah, wah. Derek Barnett. Oh, yeah, he exists. 13 snaps. Here is one of my concerns going into yesterday. All right, let's see who actually got snaps here real quick. Bradbury, Slay, Roby, Goodrich, Ricks, Job, Ringo. Am I missing anybody else? That's it. Yeah, 7. 7 corners. There were 7 corners, not defensive backs, like including safeties. 7 cornerbacks active in yesterday's game and playing. That was my sign that it was going to be they're going to have to rely on the run a little bit. They're going to have to rely on the run just a wee bit. Goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen. Goodness gracious. What a game yesterday. One more honorable mention I want to give out here. DeAndre Swift. I mean, he was Johnny on the spot throughout the game. He didn't have a monster game. I thought he'd have a bigger game than what he had yesterday, but just never quit. Him and Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell had a reception and a run yesterday that he finished that was I would not identify that as Kenny Gainwell. If you just would have taken the numbers off, put him in some kind of neutral jersey, and then if I would have saw him run or finish a play, I would have been like, who's that big burly back? And Kenny Gainwell finished a couple plays real strong yesterday, ran through some tackles, got a first down on one of them. I said it yesterday, I would not have expected Kenny Gainwell to ever be like the Thunder to a Lightning. I would expect him to be the Lightning to a Thunder. But yesterday, he brought the Thunder. And I loved seeing that from Kenny Gainwell and the few opportunities that he ended up getting yesterday. In total, he got seven carries for only 17 yards. He caught the ball twice for only 7 yards, so not a huge day by any means. DeAndre Swift, 6 catches, 38 yards. He also ran. So over 100 yards of total offense yesterday from DeAndre Swift. The other thing that I want to give credit to here is just over in general, the Eagles' offense. And don't worry, I didn't forget about Jalen Hurts. He's coming. But overall, you look at these drives, and if you go back to like the game book, for instance, you just go back over these drives, there were only 16 possessions in this game. Only 16! Each team had 8 possessions. That's bonkers. And the Eagles dominated time of possession 37-22 in this game, almost 38-22. They dominated in the category of time of possession. They had 4 drives of at least 10 plays. That also does not include a 9-play drive. They just dominated. They kept the offense off the field. The Eagles defense kept the offense off the field. It was a thing of beauty. Now, the thing I would change about yesterday's game, if I had to play, look at the skunk at the garden party, if I had to play that role for a second, it's the red zone offense. And I don't know what the hell they were doing in their last possession in the red zone. Jalen Hurts having that 2 runs. They also trying to draw. I know they're trying to play somewhat conservative. I didn't need to see Jalen Hurts run. That was just stupid. Like, that's the stuff I'm talking about. Like, I know he didn't get hurt. I know he didn't slide yesterday, by the way. We'll get into that as well. But there's a couple of things from yesterday's game that definitely rubbed me the wrong way. Number one was Quez Watkins. I don't get it. I don't get the fascination with him now. I think him getting even an opportunity after the way Olamide Zaccheaus played. I mean, look, I know we always talk about it with running backs. You got to ride the hot hand. I think you got to ride the hot hand in any position. In any position. So you mean to tell me that Quez Watkins was going to go out there and have a better game than Olamide Zaccheaus had over the last couple of games? Yeah, no thanks. I think it's unquestioned. I don't even think it should be questioned at this point. Olamide Zaccheaus is your third wide receiver. Quez Watkins has a lot of making up to do. A lot of ground to make up at this point. And hey, you know what? I hope he does it, because if you have 4 wide receivers playing really well, hey, they've got a pretty damn good offense, don't you? But there's no way when you go through the progressions, Quez should come before Olamide. Not even a chance. Not even a chance. And then the red zone efficiency is just terrible. The play calling in the red zone is also no bueno as well. I could certainly do without that. Instead of starting off with coaches when it comes to post-game sound with you guys. Oh, no. Now I'm glossing over Jalen Hurts. I don't want to do that. So Jalen Hurts yesterday, I thought played one hell of a football game, to say the least. I know he had a couple of misfires, but every quarterback's going to have a couple of misfires. I think everyone knows that. He did overthrow Quez Watkins on one play early in the ball game, but as the game went on, I mean, I think you just saw a guy zero in. 25 of 38 for 300 yards, a touchdown. He did throw that interception, passer rating of 87.9. That doesn't jump out to you by any means. But overall, with the runs, 15 runs for 72 yards. I said on Friday that he was going to have a big game with his legs. He was going to break off a couple of big runs. We didn't see a couple of big runs from him, but we saw a lot of runs from him. You definitely saw that as a threat. He was asked about it leading up to the game, and he said it's just what the game dictates, and he goes by what the game dictates. I think every quarterback should do that. You should never look to do one thing. You got to always take what the defense gives you. So I think that's a smart thing by Jalen Hurts. He rattled off a bunch of runs for you yesterday. You're looking at 375 yards of total offense just from Jalen Hurts between throwing and running. So I'll take that from your quarterback. He also had the rushing touchdown. You're damn right I'm going to take that from my quarterback every single time. What I do advise is that the Eagles and Brian Johnson, who from John McMullen's point of view is absolutely calling the plays in the red zone, that is not a group effort. It's coming down to Brian Johnson. Then I can certainly do without the Eagles' final possession of the game and what the hell that Jalen Hurts was doing and what they had him doing in that final possession of the Eagles. Here's the way it broke down in their final possession. They get into that red zone. You run the ball at DeAndre Swift twice. Then Jalen Hurts tries to go and run off the right guard for 2 yards. They don't get it. They call the timeout. They go back to Gainwell. They do get the first down. Then Gainwell gets him 4 more yards, sets up the 2nd and 6 after the 2-minute warning. Gainwell runs to the right for 3 yards. They call there's a penalty on Landon Dickerson that gets declined. LA then calls the timeout. Then you run twice with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts goes up the middle for 1 yard on the 3rd and 3. No reason for that. And then a 4th and 2, Jalen Hurts goes left guard for 1 yard. No reason for it. No reason for it. And I understand, granted, on what happened the week before against the Commanders, you're not going to be throwing it into the end zone, and you want to keep milking that clock, and that's the right thing to do. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the guy to be doing that. That's where you can give the ball a little bit more to Kenny Gainwell or maybe even DeAndre Swift, see if they can even break one and milk the clock. But I don't need to see Jalen Hurts taking extra hits. He doesn't need to do that. But overall, I mean, I know it was a one-handed catch by A.J. Brown, but that was a money throw still by Jalen Hurts to make that play. The interception is obviously not a good one. The opening drive, he was fantastic on, fine, got it in the back of the end zone. There was another play in the third quarter of yesterday's game. Yeah, I think it was the third quarter, where he just stood in the pocket like a statue. And I said, that's the biggest thing. I've been saying this year, that's the biggest difference I've seen between Jalen Hurts. Like going into last year, big difference I saw with Jalen Hurts was his ability to just throw downfield with accuracy, read the defense, and deliver the football. That was great. This year, the big difference I see in Jalen Hurts is not being afraid to stand in the pocket and trust his offensive line. And that's what I saw from Jalen Hurts yesterday. He did it again. And that's a guy that certainly is progressing as the time goes on, of course. Now, speaking of that offensive line, I'll say this. They did a great job yesterday of capturing moments on the sidelines. We were talking about what went down with with Jason Kelce. We were talking about what went down with Quez Watkins and Nick Sirianni, what went down with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Towards the end of the game, Jason Kelce was seen going up to Nick Sirianni, frustrated as all hell. And he was like grabbing, he was pushing, and it wasn't like he was trying to knock over anybody, but he was definitely trying to make his point in a very animated fashion, okay? Very passionate man, that Jason Kelce. So he's doing that with Nick Sirianni, he's doing that with Jeff Stoutland. And after the game, this is from Tim McManus. He said he caught up with Jason Kelce after the game, and this is what Jason Kelce said that was all about.
I'm not going to get into it. I think that, I love everybody in this building like their family. I've been here for a very long time, and I think I just got a little bit too heated. Really, the red zone has been frustrating, I think, for everybody. We've left a lot of points on the board, and I think I let myself get too frustrated, too animated, and it wasn't productive. So for me, though, I cannot overstate this. I think I always get the most heated and the most emphatic. The people that I love and respect. I don't know why that's the case. It's always been the case.
I'm not going to get into it, but red zone offense is really frustrating. Not going to get into it. Red zone offense is really frustrating. Okay, you know what? Here's what I love about the Eagles being 5-0. Here's what I absolutely, undoubtedly love about the Eagles being 5-0. Right? Here's what I love about the Eagles being 5-0. They know they're not perfect. It's a perfect record while playing imperfect football. And look, any undefeated team at any point in the season, Eagles being 8-0 last year, they didn't play perfect either. All right, they're always in the pursuit of perfection, which guess what? It's never going to happen. Spoiler, it's never going to happen. But Jason Kelce, A.J. Brown have been some of your most honest players. Jalen Hurts, wildly honest. Nick Sirianni, very honest as a head coach. No question about it. Extremely honest, and I want that honesty. I need that honesty. But if you're still having complaints and issues with the Eagles, like, for instance, you're not going to – you leave points on the board the way you left the points on the board yesterday against the Rams. Guess who's not going to let you do that? The San Francisco 49ers. Miami Dolphins, they might not even let you do it either. They might not let you do it either. The Bills aren't going to let you do that, even though they were terrible yesterday at London. Holy Stromboli. The 11th game in London for the Jaguars. They're now 6-5. They're now 6-5 in them London town games. That's bonkers. All right. But yeah, they're not going to let you leave those points on the board and expect to come away with a win. But Jason Kelce understands that if you don't score in the red zone, you're going to have some struggles in the NFL. And you're not going to accomplish all the big goals that you want to accomplish in the season if you struggle in the red zone. So I love his honesty when it comes to that. Also, after the game, Nick Sirianni got into a couple of different things. I think this is Nick Sirianni on red zone efficiency.
Yeah, we got to do a better job in the first half, but, this is a players' league.
Oh, that was defense. Excuse me. This might be it.
You got him going on that first drive.
Damn it, man. I don't have him. I don't have him in the red zone. Oh, no, I have him on the, okay, that is the opening drive. Here he is, opening drive, Dallas Goedert being worked into the offense. This is the way it broke down.
You got him going on that first drive. Huge game. Was that the game plan or is that just how things work?
Guys. All right. So, like I said, throughout everything, it's always runs through those three guys. And and I get it. Y'all got a job to do. And so when you look at the box score afterwards, you're not going to know, hey, this was designed for him or that. And that's okay. I mean, but everything is designed for those three guys. And the ball just found his way there today based off of how they were playing. He's always a major part of it. And AJ's always a major part of it. Devontae's always a major part of it. How much did Dallas have today? I don't even know. 117. It's going to go like that, right? It's going to go like that. And now I get it. There was a long stretch where it wasn't. But yeah, I mean, it's not, the effort is always there. It's always running through those three guys. And it just found his way. The ball found the way. Jalen did a nice job of getting him the football when the coverage, called for it.
Whatever gets him the football. The guy's a playmaker. You saw yesterday George Kittle last night in the game where the 49ers blew out the Cowboys, giving them their worst loss since 2013. That's beautiful. 33-point loss. Mwah, chef's kiss. But George Kittle just got the football, 3 touchdowns. Dallas Goedert can have that type of impact on your game. Not just by run blocking, but by catching the football. And he fights for yards, and he does it smart. He doesn't expose the football. That's what he did yesterday when given the opportunity. Like, I couldn't believe it. We had been talking all week about Dallas Goedert. Been a big talking point when it came to Nick Sirianni addressing the media, Brian Johnson addressing the media, Dallas Goedert just here to help the ball club and all that. You gave this guy, $57 million in November of 2021? You did that to help, not just for him to be a run blocker, but for him to be a premier tight end. I mean, Laporta is having one hell of a rookie season there with the Lions, and man, they had a hell of a game yesterday. But Dallas Goedert is still one of the best tight ends in football. I mean, everything he brings to the table, he's at worst the 3rd best tight end in football. And Travis Kelce's obviously having his struggles this season with injuries. He's struggling to find. He's on pace for career lows in receptions and yards and touchdowns, I believe, as well. But he's had his injury issues and maybe some distractions as well. But he's had his struggles. Dallas Goedert is one of the best in the game. Zero doubt in my mind. I like it when he has the opportunity to put his talent on display. And yesterday he did. And he showed you the huge impact he can have offensively in 2 quarters. I was going through. I was like, before the game, I was like, I know he hasn't had a great year. But I know some of these guys going into week 5 that were like amongst the like Evan Ingram having himself a good year. Like 270 yards through 4 games. That was a good year. I was putting a good year together. And I'm like, well, what's Dallas Goedert at? Like 120, 150 yards maybe this year? And I looked at 88 yards through 4 games. I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was that bad. That's terrible. I didn't see him come out yesterday. Yeah, I would like it if you worked the football to him a little bit. And you know what that's going to do? That's also going to allow A.J. Brown to be open just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Defensively speaking. And this is it. Defensively speaking, here is Nick Sirianni talking about what the difference was in the first half versus the second half. Now, in case you didn't see it, yesterday, in case you didn't catch a glimpse of this, after the first half, Matt Stafford was at 147 yards and a quarterback rating of 136. That's what Stafford had at the end of the first first half. Excuse me. He ended with a quarterback rating of 92 and only 222 yards. That's an insane drop-off. Insane drop-off from the first half of play. And the Eagles only got to him once. They got to him 3 times in the second half. For sacks, that is. So here's Nick Sirianni yesterday talking about what was different in the passing game.
Yeah, we got to do a better job in the first half. But, this is a players' league, and good players can take over games. And I got so much respect for Sean and the way he coaches the game. And then for Cooper Kupp. I think my wife told me that Jacob, my son, on Thursday wore Cooper's shirt to school. So we're going to have a conversation about that when I get home. But, I thought our defense, again, can't let him go off like he did in the first half, because I think when I looked at the stat sheet, I think he had some 90-some yards in the first half. But excellent job of our defensive staff adjusting. We got to get to those a little bit sooner. But they did a nice job there. They didn't have very many possessions in the first half, though, right? I think they had 3, because we did a good job of keeping the ball away from them. And so, when you have only 3 possessions, sometimes it's hard to, identify exactly what's going on. They're not quite in a groove yet, and one of them was kind of a 2-minute drive, right? So really only 2, but we do have to do a better job coming out of the gates on a player like with the caliber of Cooper Kupp. And then I can't say enough good things about what my thoughts on Matt Stafford, and tough, accurate, knows where to go with the football. I mean, I think that's a good football team that we beat today.
The only thing I take out of that, 2 things I take away from. One, on a football note, what matters most. On a football note, get to them a little earlier. Like 95 yards in the first half, that's a lot. I mean, you could say the same. I'm sure that they're talking about the same thing with the Rams in the first half with Dallas Goedert. Yeah, but we shut Dallas Goedert down in the second half. Well, it wasn't really going that way anymore. And then the other thing is, his son wears a Cooper Kupp jersey. Nick Sirianni's son wore a Cooper Kupp jersey to school. Kid's rebellious. I'd keep a close eye on that young man. A little too rebellious for my liking. What is a Cooper Kupp jersey even doing in the house? Who gave him a Cooper Kupp jersey? Grounded. So that's Nick Sirianni after yesterday's game. And then finally, Jalen Hurts' day where he ran for 75 yards. Good God, man. 72 yards, excuse me. Here he is when he was asked about his quarterback running so much.
What'd y'all say? They couldn't do it anymore, or something like that. Yeah, it's just that's the way games go, right? That's just the way the games go. We always want him to protect himself, and we always are going to look to protect himself. And there's going to be games, he's got to get freaky out there. I think that's how he says it, right? And so, and I thought he did a really nice job today of making some plays that only he can make.
I don't think anyone ever doubted whether or not he could do it. I know people made observations that he looks slower. Jody McDonald used a good word. I was on with him Friday. Was the word hesitant? Timid? Hesitant, I think was the word. Hesitant to run. Maybe overly cautious. And the play that we can go back to is the play in Tampa where he slid 5 yards shy of the first down marker when the first down was there for the taking. That was just not a smart play. That was an overly cautious. Cautious might have been the word too. That's just not Jalen Hurts. I don't mind if he runs. I mind abusing the uniqueness of his game. There's a difference between embracing the uniqueness of his game and then abusing the uniqueness of his game. And the way that Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts described it in the offseason leading up to this year was embracing the uniqueness of his game. Embrace away. Please. That's what makes you so damn special, so damn good. Keep that up. Everything else, no, back it off a little bit. Back it off just a little bit. Like running with them in the red zone at the end of the game, I don't think that was necessary. I don't think that's necessary even a little bit. And then the rare occasions that I also bring up, but the rare occasions of the brotherly shove, first and goal from the 1. Yesterday was a situation you had to do it. There's no time left on the clock. By the way, the cojones on Nick Sirianni. It would drive me crazy. I feel like this happened a good amount in the Andy Reid era where the Eagles would have like 30 seconds on the clock right before the half. They'd get the ball back. They'd have 2 timeouts, 3 timeouts, whatever the case may be. And they would just shut it down. Oh, let's get to the half. If you have the opportunity to go down and score, go down and score. And that's what the Eagles did yesterday. 4 plays, touchdown drive. 4 plays, 75 yards. 12 plays, 75 yards. First touchdown drive of the game for the Eagles in their opening drive. 4 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. Eagles on their last play of the first half, or last possession of the first half. Pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Before I get to our sponsor, before I get to our chat check, before I get to all that, let me tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, how excited I am for tonight. Max Fried gets the start against the Phillies. The lefty will be on the hill. He last started against the Phillies almost a month ago, September 12th. He went 5 innings, allowing only 1 run in, unfortunately, what was a Braves victory in Philadelphia. Now with the blister on his finger that's kept him out since the 21st of September, where he went 6 innings, allowing 1 run on 3 hits, Max Fried gets the start against the Phillies tonight. 6:07 start time. In Atlanta, 8-1 on the season with a 2.55 ERA. He'll get the ball against Zach Wheeler, who absolutely just dominated the Braves this season. Was absolutely unstoppable. Was just pretty damn awesome, as a matter of fact, against the Braves. He enters at 13-6 on the regular season with a 3.61 ERA. And as for his numbers against the Atlanta Braves, he has been nothing short of spectacular from what he has done against the Braves this year. He alone against the Braves. Why isn't this coming up in my beautiful, well-kept notes? That's not cool. Don't like that. Why is that not being cool? Please be cool. All right. You want to be like that? Be like that. In back-to-back starts against the Braves, he went 11 innings. One of them, he only got shelled on that September 12th start against Max Fried when they were matched up together. He got shelled 6 runs on 7 hits, gave up 3 home runs in that one in 5 innings of work. In Atlanta, however, in his last start on the 18th, he went 6 innings, allowing 1 run on 3 hits and only issued 2 walks in that game, so not too shabby right there. And then prior to that, he had one other start in Atlanta, and that one was his best start of the season. 8 scoreless, 3 hits, 1 walk. So not too shabby right there for Zach Wheeler in Atlanta. He has been dominant. Let me tell you right now about the great people at MyBookie and MyBookie.ag. When your money's on the line, choose a trusted sportsbook that gives you tools to win, like MyBookie. At MyBookie, it doesn't matter if your team is up or down. You can easily cash out or bet the game live to come out with the winning side and on that winning side. Use MyBookie for daily odds boosts, same game parlays, and take advantage of huge prize pool contests. Plus, MyBookie has no strings attached cash bonus that lets you deposit and withdraw quick. So how about that? Use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy on your first deposit and receive up to $200 in cash. That's promo code Farzy to claim your own cash bonus now. Try MyBookie. Try the MyBookie money bag to grab a potential Super Bowl front runner and long shot odds at plus 38,000 on the Eagles and Chiefs. You don't find odds like that anywhere. Plus 38,000. How about that? Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. Go to MyBookie.ag. Use promo code Farzy and take part in all the great action at MyBookie. Once again, first deposit when you use promo code Farzy, you can receive up to $200 in cash when you use promo code Farzy to claim your own cash bonus. Now, promo code Farzy at MyBookie. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Check, see how wonderful people are. I'm going to start it off on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. What's going on, everybody over here? Joshua, Nick Sirianni, Devontae Smith. That looked like a coddling moment, and not in a bad way, but that looked like a need a little love. Need a little love, baby. Need a little love. Nick Sirianni gave it a little love. Ray, what's going on? I love that there's this show that there's a show this early. Thank you, Ray. I'm up for you, my friend. Jim, you're very kind. Thank you. First drive was supposed to be, but Cunningham face mask in the third. Yes, they were supposed to be out of it. Cunningham gave him an unfortunate start. You're right. Steve Ike, what's up? All week we heard Kupp is going to do this. AD is going to do that. Stafford is all this. McVay is all that. And they got the L. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds, says Steve. Yeah, we did hear it. And rightfully so. They're really good. They did it in the first half, and then they adjusted in the second half, and the Eagles won the day. As long as you figure it out by the fourth quarter, I'm cool. And they figured it out by the end of the second quarter. So I'm cool with that. And by the way, that throw to Puka Nacua over James Bradbury, that was a great throw. Bradbury, good coverage. And it was one of those plays at the end of the first half before the Eagles had the 4-play drive for the touchdown. It was one of those plays where you're yelling at the TV, come on, turn around. Anyway, Dank, what's up? If the Eagles have to worry, the Chiefs they don't have to worry. Okay, I'm with you there. Sua played great. I agree. Idol 76, what's going on? Has common sense. Then you know what? You have the best O-line in football and run the football. I agree. Team members make each other better. I agree. Wake and Bake Show. Hell yeah. Bruce Banner. We got a guy named Mally on the Farzy Show YouTube channel that I'm going to flip over to right now. He says, smoke him if you got him. So, yes, smoke him if you got him. Tentative. Tentative was the word. Thank you. Thank you, person that just put that in there. I already switched over to the other YouTube channel here. So, I'm back on the Farzy Show page now. April, Sean, Jeff, what's going on? Sean Kilrain, what's going on? Nice to see yous. Wreaking Havoc. Mark, good morning. Mike Fuji, what's up? Jeff, how are you? Fletcher does so many things that aren't considered on the stat sheets. I agree, Sean Gillespie. Mally, there you are. Smoke him if you got him, baby. Your Eagles are 5-0. Mally, hello. Sean Kilrain, Travis, what's up? Brock Purdy is scared of our D. I hope so. Swift and Kenny Gainwell in the mix. Damn right, Mike Fuji. April, hello again. Sean Kilrain, the brotherly shove, we dominate with it every time. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Phillies are back at it tonight against the Braves. I feel like the Phillies just, they own the Braves, baby. They own the Braves. I love it. I think they win again tonight. I think Nola closes it out. Little 3-game sweep there of the Braves. I'm here for it all the live long day. But please stop letting Mark push buttons. Thank you, Mally. Yes. Wait, hold on. There's one more thing I wanted to get to. Jeff, anyone watching Laporta in Detroit? He looks like an awesome. Yes, no question about it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Jim Hyder produced the program, did a wonderful job. I'll be back with you guys tonight for Fighting's post game on the Jake and Media YouTube channel. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Jim Hyder, phenomenal job. See you guys later. Bye.